So I was just thinking, like, I think I have a problem ruminating on the issues that have happened to me, and like, I don't think I can control it because it's just been such a long crime over me that, like, I can see why, like, it took me like literally upwards of 11 months to a year to get away from these people that were poisoning me, like nearby and like in my life, and it really points out the fact that like when someone wants to break another person down and break another person's spirit to avoid accountability for their actions against you, it just shows how they will often rely on psychological attacks, social mechanisms, and and overt force. Well, it's just not only about that, but it's literally about labeling you, calling you crazy, calling you unstable, calling you angry, calling you unreliable, when it's literally about a very calculated action against me that I couldn't see. You know what I'm saying? And so I believe that my story should be on the news. I believe that what I've been dealing with since I was a 2 year old baby is worth like every single channel on the news at the same time. And it's not for vengeance's sake. It's really not. It's just about it being the truth. So, frankly, I've been under a lot of emotional distress, and that's literally caused by these people creating these lapses of memory throughout my life. And so that's why they're like utilizing vague language. They're continuously trolling me. Um, excuse me. They don't have any evidence as far as like them not doing this crime to me. And the their whole goal is to like troll me to get others to stop listening to me, to stop hearing what I have to say, and it's literally to isolate me in the same fashion that they always did. They're like they literally were undermining all of my relationships, my ability to have any of them, and then at the same time they're like literally trying to provoke still, like by being trolls. And it's like, I'll just let them be trolls if that's how they want to feel. They act like an anthropomorphic thumb. You know, that's what they say I look like, is an anthropomorphic thumb. Like, I don't really care about how I look. Um, I literally just want to be able to take care of myself, and that's legit what they want to stop. And so, creating a crime over me, or creating a crime out of me, basically, creating a criminal out of me by like doing what they did, poisoning me, has like no weight in my eyes as far as like me being that person. No one's ever gotten to know the real me. I've even not ever gotten to know the real me outside of being poisoned and positioned in such a way that was to poison me up for all of my life so that they could get away with what they were doing. And not only pushing me into that psychological warfare, but literally pushing me into the sexual abuse. Like, it's really hard because it's like the fashions that the crime did traumatized me, and then not able to see their intentions, but then having questions when I could come to from a calculated poisoning, and then just being relentlessly poisoned up. So they like literally had a map basically of like how they were going to move in every single position of my life to position me in that way. So they wanted to create friction between family, create friction between friends, employers, anyone that could help me, like anyone that wasn't like within their little clique. It was never allowing me to like go out of it. You see what I mean? And so it's really hard to suggest to the monstrosity of the crime, but it's made it harder for me to access advocates who could literally see what I was saying or what I was going through, I should say, in order to see now that what I'm saying is true. Not having any allies that weren't tied to literally like my dad wanting to completely make it to where I would be a mess of myself so that he can get away from the accountability of my taking the stand against him for what he did. And so I have a really hard time about it because it's like I literally would like to be the bright self, the light self, and then these people are literally trying to make it as if I don't have the right to become that person that I otherwise would be. So that's legitimately like if somebody wants to pray for me, they could literally pray for me to become everything that I would have been or would have been made to be or meant to be without all of that abuse. Because it's not only like physical abuse, and mental abuse, and emotional abuse, and psychological abuse, and relationship abuse, and family abuse, but it's that poisoning. It's an arsenic abuse, which is like another step into mental abuse within the relationship abuse to enhance this proxy warfare against me. And so, literally, like, I'm just fighting it because it's my mind now, like, wants to keep ruminating on it, where I have to really focus still to think about anything else. And then these people know that, so that's why I think it's really messed up that they're like, they wrote up this criminal out of me, right? And it's literally in the paperwork that's showing to me that it's not even showing me my reports at all. And maybe it's for a reason, but the fact that I feel is that they're literally just writing, they're literally scribbling over my character to create a criminal out of me to protect them. Protect the rape of my father. Protect these people to get away with poisoning me. You see what I mean? And so that's the reason I have fear and doubt. But then I also listen to the Lord, as the Lord is not the father of lies, and the Lord is not the father of doubt. And that's why I believe that who is last shall be first, and that whole thing. Because we have a God that loves, not hates. We have a God that wants better for us, not wants us down. These people need me down. You see what I mean? They literally feel the psychological, um, whatever, like they're abusive, so they need to feel they're psychologically messed up to like literally want to stamp me down in any which way that they can because of what they've been doing. And like, I mean, my brother Kenny, he was just hate filled towards me. And it's like, it's really hard to suggest to that because I did have love for him, but there was no like talking to him out, out after all of this. You know what I mean? There was literally not going, like, I am not going to allow, like, I will not allow someone to prepare somebody and people in my life to murder me so that they can like energy harvest off of my likeness and my character and my workmanship and my craftsmanship and my authenticity for their own thought process, just to like be able to get away from it. You know what I mean? First of all, that's the first thing. Second of all, is that I've warned these people. Like where I couldn't see what was happening necessarily, but I literally said, like, you guys are fucking with the wrong one. I'm gonna remember what you guys are doing here. You know what I mean? Like, and really, really heavily trying to hold on to those memories while they would poison me up, and then I would forget about those things, and then they would still just do things to either hurt me, ignore me, blatantly neglect me inside of positions that they would know that they put me into mentally. All so that they can paint me up as unstable, unreliable, mental health this, mental health that, you need therapy, you need this, you need that. When I would go and do those things, right? But I'd be literally talking to my therapist, and the therapist would say, well, you have the right to know for a fact how people's intentions are good with you. And so I think you need family counseling. And so as soon as I'm mentioning those things, oh lo and behold, they don't want it. They don't want any family counseling. No. Which is like ultimately a trigger, like, well, you guys don't freaking care about me then. And then they're like literally putting me through hell since then for since then. I don't know what year that was. I wish I remembered the exact year that was, but I'm having a hard time now because it's like mentally and physically I'm trying to be able to prepare myself for a blessing, a miracle, something to happen in my life that like I can't see coming. You know what I mean? Like a surprise. But it's like I don't want that to be like literally people that don't understand what's happening in my life to where they're like, oh man, just bent on broken in a broken system, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm literally like doing everything I can do to study the Constitution and law. And by the way, you have every right to practice law if people that you are entrusting to defend you aren't defending you or aren't coming up with a reason or way to defend you legitimately, because it's protected in the Sixth Amendment. You literally don't need to go to law school to practice law because it's written in the Constitution that we the people are the law. And they're literally, we've been duped completely with like, you know, social security or the social security numbers in our birth certificate being, you know, on the NASDAQ, or like our identities being traded on the NASDAQ, basically, or social security numbers. And then they're literally just moving money around to like push you into these situations like this. It's an energy harvest. And these people legitimately probably have millions of dollars on the backs of your being made into what they need you to be. It's such a sick crime, dude. There's trust funds inside of the court system, and it can be 2, 3, 4 trusts, and even other payments that are made for these people to work up this crime against you. It's a total theft of not only your reality, where it's like if they get away with this, it's like ever since I was born, or ever since my dad first started to poison me to get away with this shit, that it moved through my brothers all throughout my growing years and other people in high school. I believe Brian Ittman even had partnership with Kenny because of how fucking weird they were. And literally, like in my last Facebook, it would be like me mentioning these things and not even anything about his name. And he would be just, because I could start seeing through the crime, he would be coming to me making me feel weird. So that was like, okay, well, I remember our relationship when we were younger, and I saw what you guys were doing inside of that room. Like they were literally like putting a map together, kind of like explaining. Kenny was like explaining to him how he wanted him to move and this and that kind of weird, just a really weird vibe. Gee, like not even kidding you, really fucking strange. And so I'm not gonna suggest that those things that people did weren't within the script, you know what I'm saying, of this proxy warfare. That's why literally people have come out and said, like, good luck getting anyone to believe you. I don't care if people believe me. The only thing I legit care about is that God sees all of this and that people themselves can hopefully see enough of it to pray for me and to hope for the better for me, because they're literally utilizing their ability to try and control me through systems of abuse. So it's like a medical narcissism, I want to say, like the narcissism little bureaucratic design in order to create that direct confrontation with me. And it's like I'm relying on people out here to help me in this, because when they've literally like every single job I've had, literally every single job I've had has been undermined by these people. Every single placement where I wanted to grow and create and develop for myself, they literally left me blindsided by a poisoning and how they were moving with intentions. So, like, you're blindsided because of the poisons, and you're reaching out for love. So, obviously, you're in a Stockholm syndrome, cognitive dissonance when you want to think that these people wouldn't do it to you. So, you're like, it's not that you're in denial of their attributes of their character in which they're showing you, but it's like you're in denial that the things that they're doing could even be possible, that they would literally do that. You know what I'm saying? It's such a heavy fucking crime, dude. It is such a fucking heavy crime. So the next thing that they'll do is they'll rely on the delays and your non-responsiveness to basically let the system exhaust the person rather than openly being able to oppose them with what they're doing. And the effect is basically that it burns out the person trying to be heard, burns out the person that needs to be heard. And then they'll gaslight you. They'll gaslight anyone trying to, like, literally support you. They'll deny the observable experiences, and then they'll be reframing the reactions of your person, and making like you out to be the problem, instead of suggesting that you're heavily led into that confusion and frustration and anger and rage and all of the stuff that you would feel not knowing what these people are doing to you within like a poisoning arsenic. So they'll act like you're just exaggerating. They'll act like you just had a nightmare, and they'll be like play plagiarizing over your love life to weaponize your love life against you, while being absolutely suggesting that you're misinterpreting within your own investigations, but the person that's like literally having to double down, like me, I've been having to double down and beyond double down, if you ask me. Like, I would be working for three, four people at, in one day. Like, literally going 24 hours and longer. Like, just literally, like, I'm gonna do energy drinks and wait till, like, I literally need the energy to, like, continue to go to make bread. You know what I mean? And so I would do that, and it literally causes you to start doubting yourself when you're in these positions of like them gaslighting you and them torturing you in this way, where you're literally looking for every other way but loose to get out of the very concerning efforts that you feel happening to you down to the bone, but you can't literally explain it to people. You literally can't find the wordage or the vocabulary to like articulate it to even something that would actually make sense to another person. You can explain the targeting, the gaslighting, the gang stalking, how organized it is, and you can understand what Zerzet's on tactics are, and you can explain to them the predictive policing parts. You can explain to them all of these different parts, right? But you still like are in that position of like not being able to see through where it's coming from and how it's happening. You know what I mean? And so that's legit what they wanted to stop me from, is not being able to see the parties involved. That's why it's such a sick crime. And that's why they're literally like adults that literally need to like move to like name calling and trolling you, and I don't know, it's so super childish. Anyway, I'm getting a call, so I'm gonna peace out.